So with that, we will call the meeting to order. And Mary, we're going to start with.
We're going to call the meeting to order, and then we're the accessibility statement.
Okay. Thank you. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. We also have the Notice of Non-Discrimination Rights and Protections to Beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections. That notice is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. Okay, so now we will have the roll call, Mary.
Yes, Abington.
Present.
Alternate present.
Thank you, Alex. Avon.
Alternate present.
Delegate, I'm sorry, I couldn't
That's
hear
okay.
you.
Thank you, Frank. Bridgewater.
Present.
Alternate present.
Thank you. Brockton.
Alternate present.
Duxbury. You know that Ellison's unable to attend. East Bridgewater. I know Peter Spagone is on.
Sorry, he was having audio issues, so I think he had to log back in.
Okay, okay, thank you. Easton. I do not see Jean Marie. Halifax.
Alternate present.
Thank you. Rhonda Nineman. I know that she was going to join by phone if she has not yet. Hanson.
Present. Delegate.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Kingston.
Present.
Thank you, Val. Pembroke.
Present, and I think we have alternate present.
Yep, I'm here.
Thanks, Alicia. Thank you. Plymouth, Lee texts me he is unable to attend. Plimpton.
Delegate present.
Thank you. Stoughton.
Bill Roth present.
Thank you, Bill. West Bridgewater, Eldon is not able to make it, nor we do have a new alternate from West Bridgewater, and that's Select Board Member Michael Perez. Whitman.
Present.
Thank you, Noreen. And Yolanda Spinola, Delegate at Large.
Present.
Thank you, Yolanda. Madam President, we have a quorum.
Okay, thanks so much. So next we have the consent agenda with the February 2024 minutes and the MIPA notice. So I think we would take those separate. The people who want to vote on minutes might be somewhat different than the people who would vote on the environmental notices. So do we want to do it as two separate motions or as one motion? What's the pleasure of the council?
I'd say two separate motions, Becky.
Okay, then can I have a motion to accept the February 2024 meeting minutes that were provided to the council?
Motion so moved.
Second,
Thank you. Mary, would you mind doing a roll call?
Abington.
Abstain. I was not last meeting.
Thank you. Avon.
accept,
Bridgewater.
Accept.
Brockton.
I'll accept the meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you. East Bridgewater. I know Peter's having issues. Halifax.
Accept.
Hanover. Hanson.
Accept.
Kingston.
Accept.
Pembroke.
Accept.
Plimpton.
Accept.
Stoughton.
Accept.
Whitman.
Accept.
And then Delegate at Large Yolanda Spinola.
Accept.
And that is approved, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. The other thing that went out in the meeting packets were the MIPA environmental notices. Do we have, so Mary, we accept receipt of those notices, or I thought we just normally have to acknowledge receipt of the MIPA notices?
So when this was on a formal as a separate agenda item, we would just review them, but since we send, generally as somebody's, I'm getting sound, I don't know if anybody else is getting a sound
Yeah,
back.
I hear it too.
Yes,
I'm just gonna try to, my apologies for muting everybody, but I'm gonna
I
just do that.
found it,
for-
Mary. That's good.
Okay, thank you. So just normally, the notification environmental notices, we would go by that. If there was any member that reviewed them in advance and you would like us to take action on it or write a letter, that's usually where those notices, and what we've have done in the past, because it's in packet. And if we don't hear anybody and hear from a community for us to take action, we just let that go. It's part of just a record. So that is usually what happens. So
Okay, so for those who aren't used to this, when you get the packet, the MIPA notices are going to give environmental notices that could be relevant to any of our towns from month to month, so they're worth paying attention to. Does anyone have anything to raise to the council with regard to the MIPA notices that went out this month? Hearing none, we will continue to move on and we won't take action on any of those notices. We won't pipe in, so to speak. Okay, so the next item on the agenda are the February 2024 financials. Brenda, do you want to present the financials?
Yes. Okay, at the end of February, we had a positive financial standing showing a 7.38% budget surplus. Statement of expenditures report shows total expenses for the month, $194,532.89. Cash position report shows income for the month of $803,191.62. Disbursements for the month were $544,863.53. Total cash available at month's end was $2,265,944.90. OPEB account had a gain of $22,947.26, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $1,112,430.30. Budget resources report, cash receipts being $803,191.62 brings the total year-to-date receipts to $3,818,173.73. AAA report, outstanding balance for AAA pass-through programs was $16,187.18. Outstanding balance for AAA admin and ombudsman programs was $52,464.43. This brings the total outstanding balance for all AAA programs to $68,651.61. Voluntary transportation account had a beginning balance of $166,477.80. Restricted funds payments to volunteers were a total of $920.76. Donations received were
Jeff is taking.
Donations received were a total of $333.56, bringing the ending balance in the fund to $165,890.60. ROM statement and activity. The balance at the beginning of the month was $167,526.84. Receipts were $8,350, bringing the total receipts to $66,800. Expenses were $12,528.05, bringing the total expenses to $80,767.88. The ending statement balance was $163,908.51. Budget reports. The spent to date percentage rate at the end of the month was 59.34%. The ideal percentage in the 8th month of the fiscal year would be 66.72%. So at month's end, we had a 7.38% surplus. Page 1 shows expenditures at the end of the month were a total of $1,727,343. Budgeted funds remaining at the end of the month were a total of $1,183,546. Page 2, projected grant income at the end of the month was $2,910,889. There are no changes on page 3. Projected pass-through income remains at $1,719,329. Lastly is the AP list of combined accounts payables and cash transfers for the month. And that's the end of the February financial reports.
Okay, I just wanted to note, on the AAA, in the past, we've had some months outstanding, and it
Yep.
looks like we're completely caught up on that money coming in. Do we
Yes.
expect it to stay that way, or are we just at a particularly good time of year?
Well, it's always coming in and going out. Sean, are you there?
Because I know we've had times where we've had multiple months
Yes,
that we're waiting for payment to come in.
and part of the reason that we are as again, she showed the fiscal 23 remaining stuff. They usually within the third quarter of the calendar year, which is the first quarter of the state fiscal year, they try to wrap up the previous year's contracts. Because they extend from on the AAA side, that's the fourth quarter of the federal fiscal year. And I know that's probably a little confusing. We have, I mean, we haven't received payment for anything for federal fiscal year 24, which started in October. So we have outstanding bills from AAA for October, November, December. We actually just submitted January. So, but the short part of this, I've taken this way too long. The short answer is for last fiscal year, they have done a very good job of getting us most of our funds, and there are commitments to get the remaining ones. Hopefully we'll start seeing the fiscal 24 money start flowing sometime next month.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Yep.
Does anybody else have questions on the financials that Brenda has presented? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the
I
February
will so
2024?
make a motion that we accept the financials as read.
Thank you. Second?
Second,
Thank you, Noreen. Okay, roll call, Mary?
Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater. I think a couple folks need to unmute themselves, maybe.
Accept, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you, Sandy. Brockton,
Accept?
East Bridgewater. And Peter, Halifax,
Accept.
Hanover, Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
thank you, Pembroke,
Accept.
Plimpton,
accept,
Stoughton,
Accept.
Whitman,
accept,
and at large.
Accept.
Okay,
That is
thank you,
unanimous.
guys. So next up on the agenda is the OCPC staff report, which, as we're learning through our retreat, and for the people who come on April 6th, I think this is one of the most important parts of the meeting, because we start to see what's going on with an OCPC, and we can help to bring this information back to our communities.
So I will just run through this quickly, because you can read for it for yourself. And again, just so many different things. Again, these are just highlights. So we did do some staff development in terms of the principal planner position is still, actually Ray Garino had retired, as many of you had attended. And then we had hired a part-time administrative ombudsman. She started this week, and we're excited to, that's the one that's only like a 4.5 hour, but it's going to give Lila Burgess a lot of, just that 4.5 hours can really be helpful. And the senior transportation position is still open. We will reshare that position with all of you again. Charlie just placed the ad back out in various avenues throughout, not just the region, but nationally. And we're hoping that we'll be able to find someone to replace, or actually someone to be hired. So that's on the administrative side of things. The economic development, so the South Coast Rail, that's what the SCR acronym stands for. So we were recently awarded, we got that award last week. It's for a transit-oriented development around the Montello. So that's a wonderful new opportunity, and we'll be working with the city of Brockton on that. There's also some current EDA applications, working with the town of Plymouth. And then on an early stage application for Avon, working on some projects there with a design engineering project. And then a regional commercial and industrial site inventory. Again, this is under Don Sullivan, but also working with Nick Giaquinto. For those who did not know, I think we might have announced it, but he had, his wife had a baby girl. They had a baby girl. And he will be out on paid medical family leave. But it's interesting, even on the commercial and industrial one, that crosses over and working with the transportation side of things and on freight and how that's moving throughout the region. The comprehensive planning.
Mary, can I stop you real quick on the site inventory? So this will be for all of the towns in our region, right?
That is correct.
And we're anticipating an award for late March, April. How long do we think that inventory will take to actually accomplish? A year?
I think it's probably 2 years, but
okay.
I believe within the details are probably within the gut of the project of the but I don't have it right in front of me.
I just think it's important for the delegates to realize that that is going to be an inventory for all of our towns of commercial and industrial properties. So when we start to think about economic development in our different towns, we can look at that inventory project as a source of information over time.
And
anyway,
Megan,
sorry, keep going.
That's okay. What we'll do for future status reports, we'll also put the length of the grants. These grants will be coming fast and furious, so I will be doing some special, a fact sheet just about all these grants. Bob?
I mentioned that Nick has already started to reach out to municipalities to start to populate that inventory. He started that almost 2 months ago. So I think that he's way ahead of this, which is great.
Yeah. And thank you for pointing that out, because I do think that this is one of those things where Nick and Don are really trying to be helpful to our region and helping to pull together information. And the only reason I highlighted that one out of everything we're doing is because it does apply throughout the region.
Correct. So, and while the inventory itself and identifying is one thing, what they do next with it is still more work. So it's not just a couple month inventory and we're done with it. It's much more and deeper engaged in looking at where the zoning is. So that's, while that is listed, that's listed under economic development. Under the comprehensive planning, the regional water plan update, they've been meeting, continuing to meet. I believe everyone has information about that. There is a steering committee. If you are not on the steering committee, there is somebody like for the city of Brockton, it's a DPW commissioner that sits on that. So that work is continuing to move forward. The next steering committee is scheduled for Tuesday, April 23rd. That's at 9 a.m. So if there's detail that's needed, again, that's a project that encompasses the whole region, all 17 of our communities. DLTA Day, District Local Technical Assistance. There was, it was held yesterday. Lori Muncie and myself attended. We had to meet with some legislators, but we also met with other regional planning agencies. Just a shout out to Megan and Elise in working with Lori and myself on identifying the projects that have been done. Our board by far was the most colorful, and I thought it was really the best board that was out there. But it's also great to see what other regions are doing with their district local technical assistance program. So there is a budget and we're looking for more money from the state on that. Megan, just go to the top. Thank you. AAA, Area Agency on Aging. Lila and David attended a career expo that was held at UMass. That specifically was really interested because we're looking to get social work interns to assist the work that is being done by the staff. As you can just imagine, whether it's the long-term care or the assisted living care, right? So assisted living has 64 institutions that Richard Henry has to visit. If you can just imagine, that's on a quarterly basis that he has to see all of them. The long-term care has to be seen, and there are less, but they have to be seen more often. So there's a lot of work, and they're looking to have the current staff be supplemented by interns. And then Paul Lumano, our grants person, had in fact reached out to David Klein, and they worked together with some other folks to apply for some grants and Council on Aging, and it's the ARPA grant, and that's going to cover over the next 2 years. So again, moving forward, Paul Lumano working with all of our departments, and the transportation department. Charlie and his team are really been active and continuing to be working on the measures of effectiveness. That's the MOE, and that report and documents public outreach and engagement, and it gets measured and gets submitted. The Old Colony traffic volumes report as well, which contains traffic information. And as noted in the report, that the various consulting and engineering firms, that there are sources of that information. GATRA and OCPC, the staff participated in the GATRA and OCPC coordination meeting on March 4th. Again, many of our communities, I believe it's Halifax now, GATRA is becoming more engaged, and our relationship with GATRA just as much as important as it is with Brockton Area Transit. And then it's the tip adjustment for those that have attended the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting, as well as JTC, that this information is critical. The FY 2024-2028 tip amendment 2 was discussed and approved at the MPO meeting. Scenarios were also addressed. Really, really important for many of you who do have your projects or have projects from your community. I know Stoughton has many, Easton, Brockton has some. Really important to be attending these meetings, the different scenarios. So there's still plan ahead. Those will be coming forward through various meetings. So that's the highlight only, but the staff report, please read through that. Very engaged and important information. So that's what we have for highlights.
And Charlie, when does the tip come back to the full council? Is that after it
That'd
goes
be
to
in
MPO
April.
and JTC, or?
So once the MPO releases it to a public review and comment period, they're going to do that mid-April.
Mhm.
So it'll be at your April council meeting.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. So in April, we'll get more information on what the MPO has suggested with regard to the transportation improvement program for those projects on state roads in our various towns. Okay. Any questions about the OCPC staff report? If not, then we'll move on to the legislative retirement update from Mary Waldron.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. And as of yesterday, I did get some further update that the Old Colony Planning Council's support of the retirement, and that is the legislation that does not have us contributing anything, is moving forward in the legislature. It's making its way in a very positive format. And if you remember the meeting that we had, there were two sources of legislation. One that the Mass Association of Regional Planning Agency had submitted, and then there was the one that Treasurer Goldberg had in the State Retirement Board. That one has not moved forward. Ours has moved forward because of Joint Rule 10. And as of yesterday, the legislative arm of Mass Association Regional Planning Agency said that it continues to move forward and is being further assigned throughout the Ways and Means Committee. So we are looking forward to continued update.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just quickly say on the OPEB, this is the other post-employment benefits, OPEB. So we have the OPEB trust that we've been working on for the last couple of years. At this point, we now have elected committee members. The OCPC staff will be represented by Sean Noel, the OCPC retirees by Pat Can somebody else say Pat's name for me?
Chiamella.
Chair Mello. Appointed committee members are Stephen Santasonio, Christine Joy, and Charles Kilmer. So these are the folks who will set up a trustee meeting and get the process started to look at our investment decisions with regard to OPEB. So over time, OCPC has been doing a good job of continuing to build towards being able to meet our OPEB requirements through a trust fund. Right now, for existing retirees, my understanding, Mary, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that those benefits are paid out of our operating budget. At some point in the future, we're supposed to be building enough in our OPEB trust so that if OCPC suddenly went away, those benefits would be secured for our employees going into their retirement forever. So we'll look for an update from the trustees once they meet and come back to the council for looking at what their recommendations will be. Right now, the OPEB trust assets are managed by a division of Rockland Trust. There are also the Plymouth County Retirement System has an OPEB investment option, and the state has an OPEB investment option, which the trustees are going to be able to explore and report back to us on. Anything to add, Mary?
No, I think that's spot on, Madam President, and what the council needs. So what we have shared in the past, and it will be in your retreat packet, is a whole information about OPEB. So if there's any further, just for any other further need to go back to, but a council vote just to adopt the names. 3 you appointed, 2 were elected, just to affirm the committee members.
Okay, just to be clear, the trust has already been adopted by the council, and
That's
that
correct.
trust, we've followed the process for appointing those 5 members of the trustee committee.
That is. Yep.
So this is just an affirmation that
That's all it is.
that the 5 members will be the OCPC trustees. And again, that'll be Sean Noel, Pat Chiarmella, Stephen Santasanio, Christine Joy, and Charles Kilmer. Could I have a motion to affirm those members of the OPEB Trust Committee?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, Mary?
Yes, Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept?
Halifax.
Alternate accept.
Thank you. I don't think Hanover's here. Hanson.
Madam President.
Oh,
Madam
thank you.
President.
Yes, I hear
Madam
you,
President?
Rhonda.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Thank you, Rhonda. This is to affirm the OPEB members.
Yeah, sorry, I'm attending the meeting late, but yes, in favor.
Thank you, Rhonda. Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
Whitman,
Accept.
and Delegate at Large.
Accept.
That is unanimous.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we have to take a brief adjournment for the ROM council meeting. So this is for the building ROM, and
I think we
So
just need a
we'll-
motion. Mhm.
so we need a motion to adjourn. We will be coming back into the full council meeting.
Madam Director,
Yes,
rather than take a short adjournment, let us just have a very short recess, and we will come back to the council meeting as soon as we finish with the ROM business. That's really how it should be done.
okay, we will accept that, Frank. So we will take a short recess, and I don't think we need a motion on a recess. I think it's up to the chair to call a recess.
Right. And
So we will recess from our council meeting, and we'll go into the OCPC ROM meeting. which I will call to order. Mary, is it your opinion that we need to reread the accessibility statement?
Since we are in a recess, my understanding was that we do not.
Okay. So can we take a roll call of the members of the Regional Operation and Management entity?
Thank you. Abington,
Present.
Avon,
Present.
Bridgewater,
Present.
Brockton,
Present.
Halifax,
Present.
Hanover. I know Rhonda's here. Hanson,
Present.
Kingston,
Present.
Pembroke,
Present.
Plimpton,
Present.
Stoughton,
Present.
Whitman. And then delegate at large.
Present.
Okay, Frank, do you want to present the items for consideration by on behalf of the ROM entity?
Right. Thank you, Madam President. The nominating committee has met, and we have accepted the proposal on nomination of Noreen O'Toole for our secretary of our council. And it now befalls upon us to take up the ROM nominating committee. I'm happy to report on March 26th, we held a meeting with the ROM council members and OCPC staff. We will regret accepted the resignation of Eldon Marrera as our secretary and received the nomination of Noreen O'Toole, a delegate from Whitman, to serve the remaining term of secretary. And the ROM nominating committee voted unanimously to put forward the name of Noreen O'Toole to the full ROM council for a formal vote to accept this nomination of Noreen O'Toole as not only the secretary of the council, but as the secretary of the ROM council. And we all voted unanimously, and we would hope that the board will follow suit and make Noreen welcome as the director of both our secretary of both the ROM and the council. So I will now place in nomination the name of Noreen O'Toole, who is our secretary, to be the secretary of the ROM council.
And we'll take that in the form of a motion, Frank?
Yes, I wished you would.
I'll
Do we
make
have a
that motion.
second?
Oh, sorry, I'll second.
All right, thanks, Stephen. Roll call, Mary?
Yes, Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Halifax,
Accept.
Hanover.
Accept.
Thank you, Rhonda. Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
Whitman,
Accept.
and delegate at large.
Accept.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Director and Madam President. I would like to thank all of the members for supporting our nominee for Noreen O'Toole. And Madam President, I would like to now go back from a very short recess to the council to finish up with our business.
I think we do need a quick motion, though, Eldon. Frank, you had brought up the minutes of the 2023 meeting. I think we're also looking for the full ROM to approve the minutes of the June 2023 ROM meeting.
Okay, as the nominating committee, I will make that motion and ask for a second.
Thank you.
Second.
Mary, could we do a quick roll call on that?
Yes, Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Halifax,
Accept.
Hanover,
Accept.
Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke, Just
Accept.
Becky, thank you. Thank you. Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
Whitman,
Accept.
and Delegate at Large.
Accept.
Thank you. We are now completed with the ROM business.
And thank you all very much for your confidence. Appreciate it. Thank you for stepping up, Noreen. You're welcome. Okay, do we need a formal, we don't usually take a formal vote on a motion to adjourn. But I guess we'll record a motion to adjourn the ROM meeting. If we could have a motion in a second, Frank?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn from the meeting.
I'll second.
that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, Mary, are we okay just saying all in favor?
I believe that
Aye.
we are.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
so now we will resume the council meeting, having taken a recess for the ROM council meeting. And at this point, we'll have Brenda presenting the FY 2025 proposed budget. And it's more just informational at this point. We don't have a full budget yet.
On the early projection of the FY 25 budget, it should be noted that the numbers will change based on a number of reasons. On the income side, there are new grants on the horizon, not yet official, which will increase the FY 25 income. On the expense side, the salary projections at this time and all connected salary-based items such as fringe, taxes, and payroll service charges are based on merit increases being 3% across the board and includes an $85,000 salary amount for the hopeful addition of a new hire for the transportation department. The merit increases may increase to some extent after all employee evaluations have taken place and after salary negotiations have occurred upon finding and hiring a new transportation employee. Most merit increases will fall between 3 and 5%. The timing for the addition of a new hire for the transportation department is not currently known, and all other expense areas are based on historical data and known changes to come. So a few more months will be added in before I can do a true historical projection on those. And that's all I have on the FY 25 budget at this time.
Well, I think we also wanted to say that we have asked the managers to provide any capital needs, like software or larger equipment
Correct.
needs, including with some of the computers were bought sort of around the beginning of COVID. So some of those may need to be looked at soon. Outside of personnel, I think we're looking for everything to be level funded. And if any managers are looking for a recommendation outside of the merit range of 3 to 5%, then they're being asked right now to submit their recommendation so that we could take that into account. In past years, for people who are new, we have had some adjustments. Hiring in the area of planning right now has been very difficult for OCPC and for local towns and communities, as other people have learned along the way. And so sometimes we do, when we look at the annual budget, take into account whether, how our staff compare to comparable positions. So I don't see a lot of that happening this year, Mary, but I always throw that as a possibility before we get into the weeds of the budget.
No, that's right. And so we've already, the managers probably for the last month and a half have been looking at that. I've been meeting with them either separately or together with Brenda and myself. And so we're continuing to cultivate that it is challenging and will continue to be a challenge, until there's a different kind of process of, but everybody's experiencing the work. I know like the town of Duxbury has been looking for a planner for at least 6 months, if not more. So we are going to continue to be competitive. We're going to continue to serve our communities. And so we will have for the finance meeting next April, and then back to the council, at least that preliminary, budget. We will have a separate, IT, evaluation of our capital needs. As Becky explained, we have an inventory of everybody's laptop and issues and things along those nature. So, we'll get that information. And don't forget, just because we just, took time to update the financial policy. So this is stage one, giving you an overview. In April, we'll have another budget. By May, we should really have that final budget for you. That will be anything in adjustments and questions that come along the way. And then the budget gets final at our annual meeting in June. So there's time for moving forward, but that's the forecast as Brenda had provided, along with what Becky provided, and continue to keep our transparent process in play as we move forward on the budget.
And obviously, one of our, towns are constrained by property taxes and property tax increases. In our case, although we do have assessments, the bigger portion of our income is really grant-based, as we were talking about at the retreat, and as people will see on the April 6th retreat. So a lot of it is very dependent upon what types of grants we're managing and working on. Now, in terms of the open discussion, we do have the council retreat, the second retreat coming up on April 6th. I think it's going to work out well that we have two retreats, because the first retreat, we've had, some little tweaks we'll make for the second retreat, but the other piece of it is it's allowing more people to participate, and possibly in a smaller group setting, so that people have more chance to ask questions and discuss. Does anyone who came to the last retreat have anything they want to say to those who maybe haven't been yet?
Jonathan here from Halifax. I found it invaluable. I thought it was great. And it was good to see people not just on their computers, but to know that they had a lower half. That was nice to see. And just to get, a lay of the land with your organization, I thought was very helpful for myself. So highly recommend it. If anybody can get there, it's well worth your time.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think so too. I think that the staff has put together a really excellent binder that kind of describes the breadth of what OCPC does. And I think sometimes in our communities, we know as delegates who are on this meeting, we sort of over time really learn what OCPC does. And it's part of making sure that we fully understand that to bring back and keep the communication loop going. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up tonight in open discussion?
Actually, Madam President, before we do that, just the question would be from the retreat: which of the council members played the trumpet?
That would have been me. Somebody else did too, though, I think.
Certainly wasn't me.
I did want to add one thing. I thought that the meeting, people were very relaxed. And I like the idea that John Haynes from East Bridgewater brought up the point that, because I had been talking about attendance, that maybe we could change a time on that particular meeting that would fit everybody. So I thought the open discussion was really good at the meeting, and that people felt comfortable to bring up any issues. I think that's important.
Thank you, Noreen. Any other items or suggestions for future meeting topics? You can bring it up right now, or email Mary or I or Charlie and let us know what you think we need to be talking about at these council meetings to get full value to you as delegates, and also to the staff of OCPC to make sure that we're doing everything the towns need that is within our power or resources to do.
Madam President, if they
go ahead, Mary.
I just wanted just to bring up one other point. The alternate from Abington, Alex Haggerty, had been a great advocate for a Senate bill that was passed. It's the revenge porn bill, and it passed from 40 to 0. Just want to acknowledge our council member Alex for his work and his advocacy, working with Senator Keenan. That was, I believe, just from a perspective of following the legislation, and just to have, again, someone amongst us who have continued to work for various members of a community. So Alex, I know that you were on various news stations as well, so just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone showing your support. I know a bunch of people have reached out to me and stuff. It's been a long journey. We're almost there. It's going to be in conference, and then hopefully go to the governor's desk. So, and finally become law. Number 49.
Thank you so much, Alex. Okay, if there's nothing else tonight, then I think we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank
Second,
you, Stephen. Thank you, Frank. And I think on that, if everyone's in favor, please say aye.
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 Bye.
See you guys soon.
Good
Aye.
night,
Have a
everyone.
wonderful
Okay,
Easter.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
Becky.
great Easter.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Becky.